Now, my final prediction for this fight is, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. We are back with our final prediction. Big fights this weekend. Logan Paul versus Dillon Danis, and KSI versus Tommy Fury. Now, guys, not gonna lie to you guys, it's been a super fun time covering Logan Paul versus Dillon Danis because the buildup has been hilarious, to say the least. Dillon Danis just attacking Logan Paul's fiance from her past of all the men she's been with. I'm not gonna lie, boys, that man gained me as a follower and a subscriber on his YouTube channel and all the stuff he's got going on, just because the way he approached the fight. At the end of the day, it's about promoting the fight. And I think for him, he went the strongest route, which was to attack his fiance's past. But enough of that. Let's talk about the strengths and the weaknesses of these athletes. Now, when we look at Dillon Danis, world champion in grappling, undefeated in mixed martial arts. So we know this is a boxing match. It's not a grappling match. So we know Dillon going into this fight, he is coming in a little rusty, as you could say, because the man hasn't been active at all in the last couple of years. The reason why is because he's had a lot of knee injuries that he stated on Arrowani's podcast. Now, he has had one street fight that he took that right hand. If you guys not have seen that, do yourself a favor and go look it up in the library.
Got to square up. Ah! Overhand right lands clean.
His chin ate that right hand, and his beautiful hair, absorbed some of it. God, he has great hair. Jesus, you should be proud about that, Dillon. But the thing that Dillon does have is the chin. He has nothing to lose, I feel like. He's gonna go in there and he's gotta push the pace. He's gotta take the fight to Logan Paul, right? And now let's talk about Logan Paul. Now, Logan Paul has been very, very, very active, not just in boxing, but also in WWE. So I would feel he is the more in shape athlete because of the stuff he's been doing. If you have not seen this man wrestle, do yourself a favor and watch him wrestle. This man's doing backflips, he's jumping over the top ropes, he's doing everything. And he's also fought the greatest of all time in boxing, Floyd Mayweather. And he did okay. I mean, he didn't get knocked out, but he did okay. He had a couple flurries in the fight, which I think is going to be his strong suit going against Dillon Danis, because Dillon hasn't been as active. He hasn't competed in a long time. We know Dillon's got a chin because we saw it when he got in a street fight. He ate that right hand, he wore it like it was, like it was part of his beard. But he hasn't been in a 6-round fight. 3 minutes each round. And that is a grinder for somebody who hasn't been active. Now, he has been taking the fight seriously. He has been training with some mixed martial artists. I think he got a couple rounds there with Conor McGregor. He also did a round with Alex Pereira. So the thing is, what type of Dillon's going to show up, right? We know what's going to show up. We know what Logan Paul's going to come about. He's athletic. He's looking great shape. Man. Now, I want to go on record saying that I am going for Dillon Danis. Me and my, producer, Michael Wanzer, we are both rooting for you, Dillon. You just got to go out there and take it to Logan Paul, because you did state that his forearms are jacked, his biceps are jacked, right? Let's use that to your advantage. Let's get in there, push the pace, force all that blood to his biceps. And make sure you use your angles. Okay, I want to see good movement from you. That's what Dillon's got to do. He's got to go out there and move good. Unfortunately, he can't use his grappling, but he can use the experience he's done with grappling and use that resiliency and just take it to Logan Paul. Now, I think Dillon Danis' only weakness is his inactivity. Him not being able to compete as much as some of the other athletes. Now, when we look at Logan Paul really doesn't have any weakness going into this fight. He's in shape. He's been active. Not as much in boxing, but he's had more boxing fights than Logan has in the time span that Logan has been active. Logan has fought before in mixed martial arts, but he was able to use all of his tools in mixed martial arts, right? He can grapple, he can kick, he can clinch. In boxing, all he can do is box. He can't use his, black belt. So that's a huge weakness for him. Now back to Logan Paul, he's been super active. And Logan Paul is going to come in such great shape. Sometimes when it comes to this YouTube boxing era, it's all about who's in the better shape and who's going to not make a mistake, right? And if I had to look at both athletes, I would say Logan Paul's in better shape. Now, I hope Dillon Danis is our mixed martial arts savior, because when you look at Tyron Woodley, you look at Nate Diaz, you look at Ben Askren, these three gentlemen have failed. Obviously, they fought a different Paul brother. They fought Jake Paul, not Logan Paul. Now, we're not going to put Jake Paul in this, we're not going to put Floyd Mayweather in this discussion because he doesn't come from the same background as me. He's not a mixed martial artist. He is actually a boxer. So it was a given. He should have beat Logan Paul like he did. Now, my final prediction for this fight is I think Logan Paul is probably going to finish Dillon maybe in the fourth or sixth round. The reason why is because I feel like Logan Paul is just going to overwhelm Dillon Danis, right? It's boxing. Logan is not a small guy. He's a big athlete, right? He's going to go out there. I think he's going to overwhelm Dillon with the barrage like he did with Floyd Mayweather. And I can see Dillon just getting outworked. Just a bigger man trying to impose his will on someone who hasn't been as active. But we are going for Dillon Danis because he is one of us. He's a mixed martial artist. I want to see the MMA guys win. These Paul brothers have slayed too many of our brothers. It is time that Dillon Danis becomes our savior. Now, the main event, which I know all you guys are thinking, the main event should have been Dillon Danis versus Logan Paul because the buildup is so massive. The main event is Tommy Fury versus KSI. Now, this fight hasn't got as much eyeballs on it because of what Dillon Danis has done for the lead up to Logan Paul and the back and forth and all the lawsuits and et cetera, et cetera. But when you look at the fight against KSI versus Tommy Fury, KSI, I believe, is undefeated. Actually, I think he's 1-0-1. He has a 1 no contest. He has an interesting style about going about it. He's an athlete. But the way he fights, he's kind of I like to say a spaz. He doesn't really have a smooth rhythm to him. Doesn't really walk down, doesn't really hide behind his jab. He jabs with his right hand down. Basic boxing mistakes, right? But he's able to get away with it because he's not fighting actual legit pro boxers. But here's his opportunity to fight a legit pro boxer, Tommy Fury. Now, I said it in the Mighty Cast is, when you look back in the day, the Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, the list, Canelo Alvarez, the list just goes on. These guys have a long, extensive background in just amateur boxing where I feel I don't really see that from Tommy Fury. The gentleman I just listed, these guys probably have 40 to 50 amateur fights. They went off and won the Golden Gloves and they went off and fought for the Olympics. I don't see that in Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is the little brother of Tyson Fury, one of the greatest heavyweight boxers in the world. But when we see this gentleman fight, we don't see that, right? Him and Jake Paul had a back and forth bout. We saw Jake Paul, who doesn't have the extensive of amateur career, hang with a professional boxer. Now, with Tommy Fury coming to fight KSI, I think the only thing Tommy Fury has to worry about is just KSI's athletic ability, right? Like I stated before, when somebody is a professional boxer, they got to have at least 40 amateur fights, maybe 30 amateur fights. So this should be nothing new to him, right? He should be able to walk him down, see his deficiencies, and be able to say, okay, he has a lazy jab, his right hand is down. Okay, we're gonna walk him in, we're gonna counter him. Like, that's the reason why a lot of the boxers have such a long amateur career, because you should be able to see and be able to pick out these little things that these guys do that's not up to par with the pro boxers, which this gentleman is. So my prediction for this one is hard, because when I see Tommy Fury, I don't see 40 amateur fights that he's had in his background, right? I don't see that. And KSI, obviously there's a puncher's chance. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Tommy Fury because he's a pro boxer. This should be an easy fight for him. Granted, he does have to get past an athletic athlete, right? When I always love when people are like, oh, well, this gentleman has 8 weeks to prepare for a boxing match against Tommy Fury. So he's gonna come in shape, which I'm talking about is KSI. Tommy Fury's gotta go out there and just make him make mistakes. Use your your boxing amateur fights, your boxing pro fights that you've used, use your experience on your side. Use that against KSI. The one thing that Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and KSI don't have is they don't have any fighting experience. You look at Dillon Danis, you look at Tommy Fury. These guys have had an amateur background. They have amateur backgrounds. They have more fights. You know, I think Dillon Danis has more amateur fights than all three of those gentlemen put together, KSI, Jake Paul, and Logan Paul, right? So these guys have to use their experience in their lives, in their combat sports to be able to take it to these gentlemen, but they don't. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm super excited to see who's gonna win this fight. Make sure you do so a favor. Make sure you subscribe, like, also hit the bell to know when we go live again, because we're gonna do a live reaction of these fights. Once again, I have Logan Paul, 4th or 6th round, probably finish. And I have Tommy Fury. I believe Tommy Fury is going to go to the decision. I think Tommy Fury is going to use his boxing, his angles, try to jab, 1-2, KSI. KSI is going to have a hard time getting across the distance. But, once again, that's if Tommy Fury shows up and uses his boxing experience background against somebody who is technically still an amateur, right? Like, the only difference between an amateur and a professional is professional is getting paid money. Right? That's literally the only difference. A true professional boxer has 40 to 50 amateur fights. It's, you go in the gym and you ask guys, like the new up and coming boxer who just became pro under Floyd Mayweather, he has, I think, 40, 50 amateur fights, and you can see it. This man looks crisp, hitting the bag good. He just had his pro debut under the Canelo Alvarez and Charlo. Looked absolutely amazing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a future star. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you guys so much, and appreciate you guys checking out the channel. The channel is growing amazingly, and God bless, Godspeed, peace.